Hello and welcome to the complete course of Azure Machine Learning. The last session you have learned more about how have we created the demo ML workspace under the resource group. In this session, we will see how do we utilize this workspace and attach all the peripheral component inside the workspace. So here we will go to the Launch Studio. We'll see the complete machine learning life cycle can use the machine learning studio to build, train, and evaluate and deploy the machine learning model. Right? So let's click on the Launch Studio. So once you click on the Launch Studio, you can see that it is loading the workspace and this screen will pop up. Right? Here, if you see, the whole Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio is being divided into three sections. One is author, assets, and manage. Let's go with an author. In author, we have three components. One is book, another one is the automated ML, and the third one is the designer. So notebook, what the notebook does it? So it will give you a leverage to create a notebook inside the Azure Machine Learning Studio, wherein you can write your own program using a Python SDK and manage your training, deploying, and inference code. Right? So it is just like a Jupyter notebook. When we will talk about the automated ML, here we need not to do any coding. What we need to do it is just to select what all the algorithm is being used for your problem statement. If it is a classification problem, then what all the algorithm would be used for a classification, and what all algorithm you can exclude, in which the machine learning will exclude this algorithm while executing this auto ML, right? And here we can also give the range of a hyperparameters wherein the machine learning like learning rates, and there are different parameters for each algorithm. And we will just select start, and over there you can see that the Azure Auto ML will automatically check and validate the best machine learning algorithm for you with the best hyperparameter, which gives the result based on the metrics which you have chosen it. So that is why the auto ML is very useful. The third one is a designer. Designer is also a no code interface wherein you can just drag and drop from and prepare the data and deploy your model. So this section we will look in the last uh, chapter, when we will talk in details about the designer module, right? Now coming up to the manage. So once you click on the compute, here you can see there are four tabs. One is a compute instance. So this instance is used to attach the your computation or your resources to your notebook. So it choose from a section of a CPU or a GPU instance pre-configured with a popular tool like Jupyter Lab or a Jupyter, right? Whereas in case of a compute cluster, it give you a leverage of creating a single or a multi-node compute cluster, which would be used for a training or for the uh, inference purpose or for the prediction purpose, right? Here we have a inference cluster. So in real time, your training environment and your inference environment would be different. It should not have any dependency on each other, because it will execute into a production environment and the training would execute into a UAT development or in a testing environment, right? So here there would be a different inference environment. When we'll deploy our model, we can see over there that we will be creating our inference cluster, and it would be deployed by using an AKS, that is the Azure Kubernetes Service, for a large or a small scale different inferencing, right? And the last one is a attached compute. So what attached compute is, if you already have your virtual machine where all your environment is already been stored, all your data is already been there, and every all the computation which is required is already there. You can just attach your computation. You need not to create a new compute resource. You can attach your existing compute resource to this machine learning studio, right? And this is a data store. This data store is used to create a data. So once, so if you here, when we have created this workspace, automatically two data store is created. One is for a file store and another one is for a blob store. So if you have any CSV or any structure file like in txt format, then you can store it over here. Or if you are having any images, videos, or any tables, you can also store it into a blob storage. However, you can also attach your existing storage over here. So for example, if you already have a SQL database or a NoSQL database, you can register these databases directly over here by creating a new data store, right? Now coming up to the asset. So here, when we have a data set, we have to register the data set either from the sample or from the CSV file or from your local repository. And we will look everything in detail. And this is an experiment where you will create a lot of experiment for your model and see the difference between each run which you have executed, compare the result and finalize your model. And once your model is finalized, you will register it and deploy it using the endpoint. And once you'll register it, you can see your model into these models, right? And this pipeline, as I've already explained in an earlier section, is would be used to give the visual representation of your complete machine learning life cycle. Here you can see, okay, the data preparation is done into a one step, and the second step is to train the model. So once the pre-processing is done, then only the training will happen. So two uh, uh, we have divided the two process and executed in a parallel, right, or in a sequence. So this is what the machine learning in Azure offers you. In the next session, we will see the practical session. How do we use our machine learning using a Python? Thank you.